Hello, hello. Did you know that there is a form of movement that can literally change your gut metabolism? I know we usually talk on this channel about things that you eat that affect your microbiome, but today I'm actually talking about a form of movement that can improve your energy, it can help in your weight loss journey, and it can protect your metabolism, all the while altering your gut microbiome. I am not talking about running marathons, which I would never do because I do not love running. I'm talking about an exercise I do love, which is resistance training. So anytime you lift weights or do any sort of movement that challenges your muscle, you're actually influencing your gut microbiome and the makeup of it. And so in addition to building a healthy body, you're going to build a healthy gut, which I think is really awesome. I'm Dr. Katrina Coulter. I'm an infectious disease doctor, and I make educational health videos specifically with a focus on the microbiome and how we can nourish it. So why does movement matter? Well, it turns out our microbiome is very dynamic. It's influenced by a lot of things. Of course, the food that we put in our mouth, but also our sleep, our hormones, stress, and movement as well. And so when we move more, we increase our blood flow to our gut, and that helps to increase our peristalsis, or the motility through the gut. It also causes our gut to release more metabolites or signaling molecules that affect all other functioning and influences in our body. And so basically, when we start exercising, we start a dialogue between our muscles and our gut bacteria. I want to talk to you about something that I find interesting, and this is the Firmicutes to Bacteroidetes ratio. And so we know that in the human microbiome, there are 4 major phyla of bacteria. We're not going to talk about all of them, but we are going to talk about 2 of them. One is called the Firmicutes and one is the Bacteroidetes. And what we found in studies is that there tends to be differences in the ratio of these 2 phyla of bacteria in different types of human body types, either lean or obese. So we've noticed that people that have an increased ratio of the Firmicutes to Bacteroidetes, or I'll call them the F to the B, so increased F to B ratios result in weight gain, insulin resistance, and overall extraction of more energy from food. And so this is an evolutionary thing that occurred from a time when nutrients weren't so readily available. But that's not the times we're living in now. We have an overnutrition problem. So we have an abundance of fat and calories. And so we don't want to have this higher ratio of F to B where our gut thinks it needs to extract more energy from food because we have enough food. So we also know that people that have a lower F to B ratio tend to have a leaner body type, and they tend to be less insulin resistant and better metabolically, or more metabolically flexible or nimble when there's change in different types of food. So when there's changes in maybe low calorie to high calorie foods. Of course, this isn't the whole story. Your body is a complex biological organism, and so there's a lot more to it, but it's really helpful as an insight to what's happening when we shift our diet or when we shift things like our movement. So let's talk about how resistance training changes that F to B ratio. So what is really amazing is that exercise alone, without changing your diet at all, can shift this FB ratio into the healthier direction. So what we know from studies is that people that are more physically active have that lower F to B ratio. They also have more bacteria that produce the short chain fatty acids, or the SCFAs, things like butyrate, that help improve the lining of the intestinal tract and decrease inflammation. And people that are more physically active and athletic have more microbial diversity overall in the intestines, in the gut. And that's really one of the things that we really want to help us be more resilient. So studies show that resistance training compared to cardio activity seems to improve these microbial markers more. So if you were to do 20 minutes of weightlifting versus 20 minutes of just straight cardio, you're going to get more benefit in the gut from the weightlifting or resistance training. So this is really cool. And the reason why this is because our muscle tissue releases myokines, and these are signaling molecules or messengers, and they overall decrease inflammation, but they also influence the gut bacteria. And so they have these influences on these ratios. So you could think of the muscles not just as something that we have for strength and to help us move, but actually as endocrine organs. And so there's a whole thing going on, a whole process happening in our muscles where they are constantly talking to the gut. So they're not just there for support and movement, they're there to signal. So when we lift weights, we release these myokines, so we decrease inflammation. When we lift weights, we also increase our mitochondria, and these are the little powerhouses of the cells. So these are what help us increase our stamina, and it helps these mitochondria function better. And new research is demonstrating that mitochondria and our mitochondrial health has a lot to do with our overall long-term health and our longevity and our likelihood to develop chronic diseases such as things like diabetes and dementia, as well as cancer. So I want the healthiest mitochondria possible because I don't want any of those things. More muscle equals more mitochondrial diversity equals more resilience. So the other thing we need to talk about with weight training is the way it affects our bone strength. So we know that when we lift weights, this helps our bone strength and our bone density. But what surprises most people is that our bone density actually has a nice relationship with our microbiome. Our microbiome regulates our bone density. So who knew? What we know is that our microbiome increases calcium absorption and stimulates bone forming cells to lay down more bone. And so these microbes thrive in this movement environment, and especially when it's a load-bearing movement environment. So when you put controlled stress on your bones, you increase your bone growth. This also decreases your inflammation, and osteoporosis is actually an inflammatory degradation of your bones. So decreasing inflammation decreases your progression to osteoporosis. It also enhances those short-chain fatty acid producing bacteria, those butyrate producing bacteria, and so those decrease inflammation as well as improve the gut lining, which also decreases systemic inflammation. So you see how this is all related? Our muscles are talking to the gut is talking to the bones, and when they're all in a happy balance, we are happy and healthy and we live long and well, and that's what we want for everybody. So when you pick up weights, you're not just building muscle, you're building a strong skeletal foundation, and you're feeding the bacteria that protect bones. So women in your fourth decade, hello, I'm looking in a mirror here. I am talking to you. Women approaching your fourth decade, I'm talking to you. And women that have blown past your fourth decade, and that's a memory now, I'm also talking to you, because that is when weight lifting or resistance training becomes a non-negotiable. You must have this in your regular activity because of what is happening. So as we are losing our estrogen, we are decreasing our muscle composition and also the diversity in our gut microbiome. So both things are happening, and that protective effect on bone remodeling also goes away. So as we get more inflammation, we get decreased bones laying down, more bone degradation, and voila, osteoporosis, and we're all one broken hip away from a nursing home. So think of it in those terms. You want to be mobile, you want to be independent, you don't want to depend on anybody to take care of you, and that's why you have to lift weights. You also don't want to develop diabetes, and you don't want to develop dementia, and weightlifting can help prevent both of those. So we're going to prevent muscle loss by lifting weights, we're going to protect our bone density, we're going to stabilize our metabolism, and we're going to restore our gut diversity. So movement becomes your medicine. If you are in your 4th decade or beyond, movement becomes your medicine. And if you're in your 3rd decade, approaching your 4th, start preparing now. So what can you do? This doesn't mean you have to spend hours and hours in the gym. You can start this right at home. You don't have to even purchase a gym membership or some expensive weight set. So you need to start with 10 to 15 minutes 2 to 3 times a week, and you can start with body weight exercises. So things like lunges and squats, wall sits, glute bridges, my personal favorite. Consistency is much more meaningful than the intensity with which you work out. So you don't have to lift heavy weights for 5 minutes once a month. You need to lift body weight for 10 to 15 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week. It's not hard. You can get some resistance bands. They're relatively cheap, or you can pick up weights, or you can find heavy things around the house to lift. We've got plenty of rocks, and so that I can go pick up rocks and move them around if I don't want to spend any money on it. So if you're feeling low on your energy, or you're stuck in your weight loss journey, or just overall your mood is not great, or you're concerned about progression to osteoporosis, go pick up a pair of weights or start doing body weight squats. And if you want accountability and someone to help guide you through this process, and you come work with me one-on-one, you can head over to my website at www.katrinacoultermd.com. I have a newsletter you can sign up for, and you can also book a free discovery call where we can talk about how this would fit into your life, as well as other microbial nourishment. Until our next video, I'll see you. I hope you pick up some weights.